What do you call a fighter jet with a wig on it?
Really don't know.
Don't know.
A Harrier jump jet.
Oh, very good. How class were Harrier jump jets? They were amazing.
They're excellent. Top marks to us.
I was very close to saying a drag jet.
Oh, very good. That's amazing. Hello and welcome to episode 41 of That's Class, a podcast about things we find class, hosted by three of your favorite classholes. As always, I'm Ruaridh Kidd, called sign Hurricane, joined by Duncan Malcolm, call sign Flash, and Eddie Ashcroft, call sign Thick Hogsman. What up, boys?
Is that what the computer threw up for me? How did it know?
Apparently, yeah. And China now has my face, so probably already had my face. So swings and roundabouts. From that, I'm good. How's everybody else?
Feeling good.
Are we all still feeling the buzz from the cinema experience? I know Eddie must have enjoyed it because he actually enjoyed the cinema experience for the first time in a long time.
Didn't enjoy the cinema experience. I enjoyed the film.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yes,
I thought it would have improved the cinema
was
experience for you.
Heavy anxiety.
I had to drive home afterwards. I couldn't just turn it off and go to bed. I had to drive home. I had to pay too much for popcorn.
Was it a busy cinema?
I think it turns out we went on the Friday, and I think it came out on the Friday.
Came out on the Wednesday.
Oh, on the Wednesday. All right. Well, the first Friday we went to it opening weekend, I suppose. So it was pretty. It wasn't packed, but
my cinema, we went to see it on Monday, and the cinema was packed to the gills. At the 8 o'clock showing. For the listeners that don't know what we're talking about, because we've not even introduced this episode yet, we've just got straight into talking about how buzzing we were. We're all buzzing because we watched Top Gun Maverick.
Tom Cruise edition.
We watched Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick. I mean, the much delayed Top Gun Maverick, supposed to come out in 2020, finally got its release last week. As you can see, we are now wearing sunglasses and aviators. I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. If you're watching this on video, because we feel the need to review this movie because it is that good.
So good. The only thing I'm disappointed about your outfit, Duncan, is the fact that you haven't bothered to grow a mustache.
It's just really so much. I mean, I should have done. He's just deleting his beard for the people that are
That's fair. You just kind of look like, I don't know.
It's like a weird cross between Goose and Hangman.
Hangman, by the way, great call sign. An even better call sign when I actually saw his helmet and the A's were missing. Yes. Class call sign. Shall we jump straight into it and give each of our initial thoughts?
Yeah. So, Eddie, what was your initial thoughts coming out the cinema after watching Top Gun Maverick?
I was pretty emotional. I think I came out and I said to Fiona, I struggled to say, I think that's the best movie I've ever seen. I proper nearly choked up again saying that. I think that's the best movie I've ever seen. I then said, it's definitely in my top 5. No, wait, it's top 3, and I think it's number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, incredible.
Wow. Bold statement.
I can't think of another film that I've ever come away from watching having had the experience I had. Ever.
I actually agree with you. My review was going to be buzzing. Like, I got home, and I was still buzzing about half an hour later, thinking about it. And talking about it, and we talked about it all the way home. And you definitely came out the cinema and you go, wow. And like you say, I was thinking this today after you said it was coming out the cinema and it's one of the best films you've seen. I struggled to think about the last film that I came out the cinema and was really buzzing about after leaving the cinema. And
None.
I think it might have been 2006 and Casino Royale, but that would be a long time ago. That was an excellent thing that you've just done. For the viewers,
That's incredible. For audio listeners, Eddie now has some sunglasses on, but they're not what you might think. Log on to YouTube or open your Spotify modern. And have a look.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I'm going to say, Duncan, is you could have a mustache if you wanted.
This is true.
I don't want to play around with the video and then drop out the call.
Oh man.
Yes, Kid, your initial thoughts on what were your initial thoughts on Top Gun?
Great balls of fire. This movie is fucking tits. It's amazing. I 100% agree with Eddie. I left the movie thinking about when I will be able to see the movie next. I saw it alone.
You probably did.
Which I did. I saw it alone. I've seen it twice now. Once alone, once with Lucy. I agree with both of you. Just like coming out of the cinema and being like, I don't think I've had that reaction to a movie since I was a kid. Since, like you come out of a movie and you're like, man, I wish I was this guy. Or you're like, I want to be a fighter pilot or whatever. Huge propaganda. But just like coming out and thinking about it and talking about it. And we talked about it a lot on the chat once, or with the hype on the chat once you'd seen it, Duncan. Then when I was in London last week and Lucy and I saw it, she's not a massive like movie fan in general, but she couldn't stop asking questions and talking about it and wanted to watch the first one again. And it's such a cool movie and he's done so well. It's very well written. It's well paced. It doesn't feel slow. The only criticism I have is I wish there was more Kenny Loggins.
Yeah, I quite like the way they did it. I don't know how. I was thinking about that today, and we'll get into that in a bit once we go through the movie. But I agree with you that they could have maybe done it again. But once was kind of, I was fine with that because the rest of the film was okay.
Also,
more than okay.
Yeah, there's a part where they play "Don't Get Fooled Again" or "Won't Get Fooled Again" by the Who. Yeah. And in my head, I was like, oh, it'd be sweet if they had Danger Zone instead. But then it also kind of worked. But
that originally, whilst it's in my head, in the Top Gun 1, that scene I think is done to Cheap Trick's Mighty Wings.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's Mighty Wings. That the first sort of montage of flying is to. Danger Zone only appears at the start on the aircraft carrier in the first one.
Surely not. I'm pretty sure they play Danger Zone so many times in that movie.
Maybe
it was written. It was written. This was a fun fact about the first movie: was Danger Zone, the Top Gun theme tune, and Take My Breath Away.
Still meant to be someone else.
Were all written for the movie.
Nice.
And Top Gun won. I don't know if it won a Golden Globe or an Oscar, but it won Best Original Score.
I think I might be talking out my arse, but I think it might have also been written for Toto.
Ooh, that'd have been good.
If not Toto, it was written for someone else. None of it was actually meant to be Kenny Loggins.
It
was meant to be someone else.
Or Berlin.
And then the other people wouldn't do it. I'm pretty sure this is just this isn't even anything groundbreaking. This is Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Nice.
What is Wikipedia?
The soundtrack's one of the best selling. The soundtrack for Top Gun, in terms of the album, is one of the best selling albums.
I've been listening to it. I've been listening to it nonstop since I saw the movie. It makes you drive so fast when the Top Gun theme comes on and that guitar comes in, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going 100 miles an hour.
So yeah, original Top Gun.
Or were you, Mr. FBI guy?
Yes, I was.
Original Top Gun. Artist considered for the soundtrack. Bryan Adams was considered, but he didn't want to because he felt the film glorified war. Let's see. And the band Toto were originally meant to record Danger Zone and had also recorded a song for the film. But apparently there was a dispute between Toto's lawyers.
The Canadians have already apologized for Bryan Adams.
And producers of the film, paving the way for Loggins to record Danger Zone and Only You being admitted. All right. So it was a film.
Kenny Loggins is the man. So much respect for Kenny.
Okay, well, speaking of Kenny Loggins, let's get into this film. And what we'll do is we'll just go, we can break it down. We'll talk about things we liked. I've written basically from what I can remember as the order of things, but there'll be things obviously with 3 brains. Hopefully, you can remember more of it. But the film kicks off. We've got the aircraft carrier scene, which is pretty much just a modern day replica.
It's genuinely scene for scene. They just reshot it with the Top Gun theme, and then as the jet takes off,
F-22s and F-35s, yeah.
And as it takes off, Kenny Loggins kicks in. It's amazing. Big smiles.
It hits you right in the member berries, like just
right
full on. Berries.
Like, and they did it well.
Through.
They did it well because I didn't watch it and go, oh fuck, are they just recreating the first bit? And even before that, they have the blurb from the start where they say in the 60s the Navy started doing this thing for the best fighter pilots. They called it something, but the pilots call it Top Gun Maverick.
It's the Kat leaned over to me. She goes, "It's the same font."
It's the same font, except it doesn't have that like janky 80s like font that moves on the screen. It's a really good HD overlay. I think this was all filmed on IMAX. I think
a lot of it was. I didn't see it in IMAX. Maybe I should.
Maybe we should. I should see it again at IMAX. I've heard good things about seeing it in 4DX, which like moves your chair and shit as the plane moves.
You get sprayed water on as well, or used to.
And apparently in the snow scene, it like snows on you.
Not sure how I feel about
that.
Yeah, I know. I think I'll stick to IMAX or just like Dolby Vision.
I'll pass on the COVID face spray, please.
I think that was one of the things about 4DX was they immediately went, "Oh, that's just never going to happen again."
Yeah.
So we go from there. We then move to an aircraft hangar in the Mojave Desert, where we meet the ever youthful Tom Cruise fixing his own P-51 Mustang.
P-51 Mustang.
51 Mustang. And obviously he can also fly the P-51 Mustang. He's a ball hair away from being Maverick in real life.
He's the coolest guy
in the world.
And then
he goes to his new job, which is the SR-72 replacement. Well, the imaginary SR-72 replacement, which is Project Darkstar, which is a massive, for anyone that doesn't know, look up SR-71 Blackbird and then type in the SR-72 and you'll get an idea of what, if you've not seen the movie, what this plane looks like. Capable of serious
speed.
Mach 9? Mach 10?
Mach 10. Mach 10.2, baby.
And at that point, I did think, there was one point during this scene where I thought he was going to say, I feel the need for speed.
Yeah.
But it was kind of implied, he didn't say it. There
is a point, actually, where in the movie where I was like, maybe they're not going to do all the catchphrases. And I don't think they do, because he's got a new catchphrase, which is, I don't like that face, Mav.
Yeah.
And he says, the one I got. But this is such a cool way to start the movie, because you see the old member berries, you see his jacket, he gets his old Kawasaki out, he's riding his motorbike without a helmet like an absolute lunatic. He's got his aviators on, and they're going to do it, and then Ed Harris is on his way to shut it down because it's all about remote control aircraft now. And then he does the whole Maverick thing. He's like, well, he's not here yet. So then they go and take off. And that leads us to the scene that they had to use, even though it destroyed some of the set. Because it blew the roof off, which I thought was very cool. I kept an eye on that the second time I watched the movie. Very, very sick. And the fact that you're seeing Maverick and you're seeing him in the modern day, and then all of a sudden the guy in the desk just goes, he's the fastest man alive. And it's just so good. And then the Top Gun theme plays and it's so fucking good. The amount of times they use that gong in this movie is so good.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Not enough. Got a fever and the only cure is more gong.
More gong, baby. Very good scene. I enjoyed it.
What about you, Eddie? Enjoy all the opening?
Yeah. Although reading here, the actual potential real life SR-72 is only supposed to reach Mach 6.
Hollywood, baby.
Well, now they know they're being bitches and they can. Maverick did it.
Get to Mach 10 and then blow up and be like, it's pretty cool how he ends up in some sort of little backcountry and the wee kid's just looking at him like, is this a fucking alien?
And he's just asking for water.
Is he Is he a time traveler? What year is this? Where am I?
That
You're in the United States. I know.
That got a massive laugh in our cinema.
It got big laughs as well from my cinema. Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie's right. Yeah, I know I'm here. Where am I?
Where in America?
And then what happens after that? He has a chat with what's his
Ed
call
Harris.
sign? Ed Harris's call sign is what?
Hammer.
Not Viper.
It's not Viper. No, he's not Viper.
Hammer.
Ed Harris was
Hammer? Ooh. Ed Harris.
Rear Admiral Chester Kane.
Chester. That was Ed
Chester.
Harris.
Yeah.
Chester's dead.
Chester Kane is call sign Hammer.
Hammer. Nice.
Oh right. Okay. His name is Hammer.
So
His actual name's Chester Kane, and his call sign is Hammer.
nice. And he's telling, Eddie's going, it's Hammer.
I'm telling you what it is.
I'm telling you what it is. Listen to me.
But this is the scene where he's basically saying a phone call came just in the nick of time. I'm going to ground you, but you're needed back at Top Gun.
Correct. And also, Ed Harris has a conversation with him where it almost felt like it breached the fourth wall. In terms of literally saying, your kind's headed for extinction, Maverick. And he goes, it's maybe so, sir, but not today. And that's almost like a parody of action heroes where he's like the last big film star.
Oh, I see how you saw that. Yeah, that's good.
The last of his kind.
That he really is like a dying breed of really massive film stars from that era. And the length of time he's been in the business. And yeah, just him sort of saying, you're going extinct. Maybe so, but not today.
Do you think that's because there's almost like too many movie stars now? I think there was less movie stars.
So much content.
Time's gone by.
I think there was just less blockbuster movies, less of a Marvel thing happening.
Because you've got Tom Cruise cleaning up all this stuff, but then you've got all these big things, and not one person doing heaps of stuff. Although you'll get someone doing they'll have their moment, Ryan Reynolds.
I quite like how Ryan Reynolds.
Tom Cruise has never done that many in a row.
Exactly.
No, exactly. His span over fucking ages. Whereas the thing at the moment is to it's not so much your 10 minutes of fame. It's your 5 years of every movie, and then just I'm bored of playing with you now. I don't want you anymore.
Yeah, it's just strange. He genuinely is just one of these, like you say, it's the fact that you only see a Tom Cruise film once every while, but since they picked back up with Mission Impossible, it's just been hit, and people because he just seems to get what people are after. Yeah. And speaking of getting what people are after, he still doesn't understand what the Admirals want, because he turns up at the Top Gun school, where he meets Cyclone and Warlock,
which seems like those two are buds. They've been through some shit, because Warlock seems to laugh at everything he does.
I had to look up when I got home whether or not Warlock was in the first film, because I thought he was. I think it was Merlin I was thinking of. Yeah. In terms of call signs. But I didn't watch Top Gun 1 before I went to the cinema. I was going to, and I thought, you know what? I've seen it recently. I'm not going to watch it. And kind of go in.
And then you started asking yourself questions like, do I know who Warlock is? Should I know who Penny is? They're acting like I should know who Penny is.
Well, I do know who Penny is, because I remember that.
Well, she's only mentioned briefly in the first movie as the Admiral's daughter.
I think I knew that from just reading things before.
Goose says that time you fucked up and slept with the Admiral's daughter or something.
I actually put the clip. It's the general it's the commander of the aircraft carrier they're on that tells them that. So I put the clip in the.
That's it. Pissing off the Admiral's daughter or something.
Yeah, he says you made five passes of towers and 5 dangerous passes or something, and one of an air tower and one of an Admiral's daughter.
Class.
As Goose turns and says, Penny Benjamin? He goes, I don't know.
Yeah, Penny Benjamin, yeah.
I don't know. So then obviously he turns up there, Cyclone and John Hamm says he doesn't like Maverick. And then they move on to the hard deck, which is the pub.
A great name for a bar. Great name for a bar. And also, the pub is far too busy for me. With one barmaid, I don't think I'd really, really hate being in this bar. However, it's pretty cool. you get to meet the new guys, which initially I thought they're introducing them really quickly. Am I going to care about these guys? Am I going to know their names, or am I going to care if anything happens to them? They do a really good job to actually make you care about them. And it's in the first flight that they have with Maverick. That's when you sort of figure out who they all are and how they fly and who they communicate with. I thought that was really good. But the bar scene introduces you to...
I was going to say Penny Benjamin first, because I was about to talk about Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
How we're talking about Tom Cruise.
I got
hasn't aged. You got too eager. If we're talking about Tom Cruise hasn't aged, well, Jennifer Connelly is 51.
God. She looks real good.
So
she's doing well.
She is doing well.
Jennifer Connelly, if you don't know, famous for that David Bowie movie. What was it called? Labyrinth. And anything else? I don't think I've seen her in anything else.
She's in Blood Diamond.
Blood Diamond. Oh, yeah.
I mostly recognize her for the Snowpiercer TV show.
She is also in that recently, yes.
She's very well cast. She encapsulates the 80s very well. And at one point, she sits on a sexy-ass 911, and it's amazing.
Yeah, so we're moving on to the bar
Wait,
scene.
she's
Oh, go on.
Sorry.
No.
She's in Hulk. She's in the 2003 Hulk.
With Eric Bana.
Yeah, she is the love interest. It's not her first time as the love interest to a sexy man.
She knows that real well.
Anyway. Yes. The big green beast. Otherwise known as Tom Cruise's penis.
Big green beast. Oh, fuck. Moving on.
And she's married to Paul Bettany. I just wanted to put that.
Oh, yeah. Well done, Paul Bettany.
Well done, Paul Bettany.
Eddie, that's Vision in Marvel movies.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And in Knight's Tale.
And A Knight's Tale, yeah.
And Jarvis. Oh, Jarvis. Marvel movies.
Yeah, but Jarvis isn't a thing, is it?
Who's Vision and what's a Marvel movie?
Hey.
Don't care anymore. I'm back to watching 80s action thrillers.
He's
you
punching.
introduced to the cast, who I thought did really well in terms of Hangman, Phoenix, Bob. Bob being a stealth pilot because he's nerdy and sits in the corner. I can honestly feel for Bob.
Now that we're meeting everyone right now, shall we rank their call signs?
All right. Eddie,
podcast within a podcast.
You're asking me to remember things. I've seen the movie once. I don't remember.
We're just saying how the call signs are cool. So we have Hangman, we have Maverick, we have Rooster, we have Bob, we have Phoenix, we have Fanboy, we have Ohio, Omaha.
Payback, one of them. Or
Payback, Warlock, and Cyclone.
And Hammer. Don't forget Hammer.
Maybe this is too much to do.
Well, the problem is you can't really assess them until you kind of see, like, Hangman they don't all get explained. I think Bob's is funny because obviously he goes, "What's your name?" Bob. What's your call sign? Bob.
He plays that really well.
He's also Bill Pullman's son.
Bill Pullman. Why do I know that?
And
name?
for Eddie, for both, he was the president who flew the fighter jet in Independence Day.
Oh, nice.
Oh, his son.
I just thought that was a fun little.
Another callback to an epic movie.
Epic movie, yeah. With fighter jets.
With fighter jets. That's so good. Independence Day. So we're met with all these guys. They play a game of pool. Rooster comes in a sweet
Hawaiian shirt and aviators.
It's like a Jeep Wrangler without the roof.
Yeah.
He's got his Hawaiian shirt. He's got his
Rubicon or something.
Got his aviators. Unplugs the jukebox. Tinkles on the old Joanna.
Which he probably did.
Plays a certain song. But before he plays a certain song, Tom Cruise has to buy the bar a whole round.
Because he put his phone in the bar.
Puts his phone
and
in
then
the
he
bar
insulted Penny Benjamin.
But that sign is very small. I think that's a shame. And she was standing in front of the sign, so how was he to know? Don't know
got
if I
away
like.
without paying.
Don't know if I like this bar.
Oh, no,
he
he had
did.
to
Well,
come
he had
back
to
and
come
pay.
back and pay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's Rooster, which is like when I don't know, it's not a great call sign, but
It makes sense to his dad Goose,
well, maybe it should have been like Mallard, like you've got Goose
Or maybe they should have
up.
cast Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. Hey, he's a baby goose. Yeah, it's got it, but it's doing it. I mean, you said you cared about all the new pilots. I didn't. I only really cared about Baby Goose and Maverick the whole film. But like to the same sense, like I think that's why every single one of their call signs is relatively trash. I like Phoenix as a call sign for a pilot, but they are like relatively trash. Like
I think
Hangman's
that's the
pretty
point
trash.
of Bob.
Like,
I honestly think that's part of the point of
Cyclone's
Bob.
a bit like, but Rooster's like pretty trash call sign actually. But anyway, but no, like I like how he came in, and I like it's the film. It's called Top Gun Maverick for a reason, because the film is about Maverick. So that's the whole point of Rooster being Goose. Like the way he's dressed, the way he walks, the way he acts.
Yeah.
Him playing that song on the piano, that is Goose.
Yeah.
It is Goose. It's not a baby goose. It is Goose.
Yeah. They kind of feel like if they hadn't killed him off, they kind of, maybe the writers were like, shit, we killed him.
But then that then plays into the whole film being Maverick, because that just like confuses and like really wrecks with Maverick, because, and then we later find out, what's happened to Rooster as he's tried to become a pilot in Top Gun, and what's sort of gone on there, and actually how much Maverick looks out for him without him really knowing or wanting him to look out for him. Just how much guilt and how much responsibility Maverick puts on himself for Rooster.
Of course, Maverick won't get fooled again. So,
hey. But so Maverick gets chucked out the bar for not paying his bill, and then
by the pilots, might add.
By the
It's
pilots.
a funny scene next. Yeah.
Rooster starts playing Great
convenient.
Balls of Fire, and it's the first time that we get a little bit of emotion, and you start to just twinge, and you're like, oh fuck, he still feels it. He still feels for Goose, and that's Goose's son, and oh, he's so sad, and he shouldn't be here, and Goose should, and what if Rooster dies, and all this shit, and then Penny sees, and then he walks away.
Quite sneaky how they were in the bar at the same time, and there was ample opportunity for Rooster to like turn his head and just see him. That would have been like, that would have probably have been like the totally easy way for him to see him, and it to be like a thing in a bar. And they could have done that really easy and done like a sort of whole bar scrap thing. But instead they made it much in the same way in the first film. Is it in the Top Gun? I might be wrong. Correct me. But did he sort of like flirt with the instructor woman the night before, and then went into the class the next day and she walks in?
Yes.
He was super rapey, and he walked into the girls' bathroom and was super rapey with her. So, really like polite and, showing her how much of a gentleman he is. Super weird.
So that's kind of like a bit like here, they're saving that reintroduction sort of moment
for the next
bit. In the hangar, as opposed to doing it in the bar.
No, I agree with you. So Kelly McGillis, she turns up next day, fresh as a daisy, and Maverick and Goose are sitting there with the realization on their faces.
This is back to the first
the whole inverted bit. That I've seen a MiG do a 5G negative dive.
We were communicating.
Inverted. I meant to say that we actually missed a bit where they described the mission that Maverick is training them for, which he doesn't really explain there at the first briefing, but explains. They explained to him when Cyclone and Warlock explained to him, but it's basically the trench run from Star Wars.
It totally is, and I love it.
To destroy the Death Star, and it made me laugh because they're literally making a Rogue Squadron, or trying to make a Rogue Squadron movie. Which was based on the X-Wing games for the Nintendo and stuff, and the idea was to have this ace group of fighter pilots. I was thinking, oh no, they've just taken if they can make it half as good as this, they're on to a winner.
But then it's even to the point where Goose is going along and he's being a total pussy, and then he's just like, talk to me, Dad.
And then when he uses the force to put the 2 bombs into the into the grate, and the grate's about a foot wide. It's somebody drank a bunch.
It's genuinely 100% the whole like, I can't use the radar. I'm switching to eyesight. Like, and he's like, use the force, Luke. Big Obi-Wan in his head. It's 100% the trench run, but it's done 100% better. Like, it's so intense.
If the trench run had been given my whole movie, then you get Top Gun Maverick.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves right now.
No, it's just to bring us back to the break.
Yes.
It's just to bring us back to the.
They're telling you about the mission, and the mission is that there is an unknown country, but they are the enemy, and they have some plutonium or something like that, or like
nuclear installation.
And,
I believe it's not Russia.
It's not Russia.
Not Iran.
And they have some, and I also love the fact that they call them Gen 5 fighter planes. They don't specify, but they call them Gen 5, which sounds cool. And then lo and behold, they've got a couple F-14s in there as well. And then as soon as...
That'll come back later. I'm sure that will be a foreshadowing.
It happened when the first time I saw it, I went, he's totally going to fly that later on in the movie.
Somehow.
And I'm so glad I got that right. Because it was such a hype moment.
Didn't occur to me at all.
It didn't actually occur to me until after when Kat said, they mentioned older fighter jets were locked away. I heard that bit, but I didn't hear the F-14 bit.
Because when they talk to, this isn't even in the classroom, this is just Maverick learning about the mission, isn't it?
That's the first bit, yeah.
Because Cyclone says it's not just us that are trying to get rid of old relics. Because they've got the F-14s, and I was like, fuck, he's going to fly that. That's going to be amazing.
So then we get the bit that I'm sure Eddie will love to just explain how epic this was, which is the first won't get fooled again scene. The 2 fighter jets flying along, and after Tom Cruise, straight
shoots
after
up through the
betting
middle of
200
them.
push-ups like a bunch of madmen.
Oh yeah,
I love that actually.
And they're all out there, like, doing it. Yeah,
let's put some money on it, put some skin on it. 200 push-ups for whoever dies, and then Maverick just shows everyone how he's so good. That's a kill. That's a kill. It's so good.
Then he takes it too far with Rooster. Sorry.
Oh yeah, and then he does the whole inverted thing, and then they
go well below the hard deck.
They do the corkscrew.
He's pretty lucky he pulled up when he did, but I mean,
his pull-out game is strong.
Maverick pulled out before Rooster pulled out, didn't he?
His pull-out game is Rooster's pull-out game is pretty good.
It's the Tash. The Tash adds a couple extra seconds to your pull-out game.
It gives you a +5 pull-out buff.
Pull-out buff.
Oh shit!
Lowers your cooldown as well.
Yeah.
I almost fell off my chair there.
Nice.
I think is that the only scene other than the fastest jet in the world? Is that the only scene that's maybe CGI'd? That like corkscrew dive.
I think the corkscrew for the most part might have been. They could have actually. I think they're a lot further apart than you think they are, and that the plane actually could have done the corkscrew, and they could have done another plane doing another one. They just superimposed it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then it could have been a lot of perspective on that.
That as well, yeah.
And
that's what
also,
the
planes can get that close to the ground. It's just that obviously the whole thing in the movie is they're not allowed to. But
going vertical down is dangerous.
Yeah. But the cool bit that followed that bit was when Maverick's in there getting a pretty hard time about the going below the hard deck, and then he's basically told, he's like, I want a written report every morning of what you're going to be doing that day. Straight away, then hands him his report for the next day, where he requests permission to lower the hard deck. You got Warlock next to him, going like, as they're walking away, like, you've got to work on your timing.
The jet split. The jet split one.
The other thing
the first jet split that they do when he flies between them. So that was actually 2 jets flying quite far apart, and then far enough for the jet, and then they did a jet going up the way, and then they superimpose. So the 2 bits are real, but they superimposed it together because obviously it's like
Super
it's
dangerous.
dangerous.
a meter apart.
But the scenes with Warlock and Maverick they really sort of put hammer in the fact that they're mates and they've been through a lot. Because even when he first joins and he's like, it's actually quite nice to be, I wasn't expecting an invite. And he's like, orders, Maverick. These are orders. And then again, where he's like, you really need to work on your timing. It just adds that friendship, which I really like. And he sort of smirks a lot in the background when Maverick has things to say.
We're not forgetting his best pal.
His best pal?
Who's the gentleman whose name, call sign, I can't remember. I want to say it was Hondo, but I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah,
He's
Hondo.
there.
Yeah. He's there.
His plane guy.
Yeah. It's sort of like almost like
mechanic
chief
or
engineer,
something.
like right-hand man.
Yeah.
He's really good. I can't remember what the actor was called, but he did a really good job.
Bashir Salahuddin.
Nice. Well done, Eddie.
Good job.
You've got it written up in front of you.
I just have the cast list on Wikipedia in front of me.
Nice.
Smart.
Good call.
Smart man. Smart. Professional right there.
I try.
So yeah, that whole scene is just excellent from start to finish. And then is that when they start doing as well? Is it after dogfight football that they start doing the trench runs, basically?
Yeah.
Because
the timing gets put up one week. But before that, what happens after that? They all do the push-ups and there's the big...
Dogfight football is the next bit. Followed by it slows down to dogfight football, Penny and Maverick, Iceman. I think it goes Penny and Maverick, dogfight, Iceman.
Dogfight football. Let's go into that bit then. Again, should have been Kenny Loggins.
I quite like the One Republic song. It's not that bad.
It's One Republic.
It is One Republic.
Ugh. I don't know. I just think it would have been
such a hipster moment there.
It just would have been great just to be like, well, if it were the right ones, and they're just too fast.
I would have liked them to maybe have the tune, and then when Tom Cruise goes to sit down, how I would have done it is that as he was going to, when he broke off to go sit in the chair, when he goes to sit in the deck chair, he has like an old radio, and it's playing Kenny Loggins playing with the boys. But obviously, when he's sitting looking at the team playing, and that Cyclone turns up, and it's that's the beat in the background, but it's very, very gentle. So you've still got that Kenny Loggins moment, but it's not as in your face. And obviously, that's where a lot of less homoeroticism in dogfight football than there was in volleyball.
It's
which
a good
Eddie
scene.
was not happy about. I could tell. He's just
Such a
burning out.
letdown. Such a letdown.
Wasn't enough slow mo. The best part was when Rooster did that dance and looked super sexy in the sunlight and his sweat. He did that dance.
They were high fiving and
that's a great dance. I'm going to try and learn that dance, and I'm also going to go to the gym more.
I also you could definitely criticize it for gender equalities, because why were the women not allowed to play dogfight football topless?
She had her sports bra on.
Topless, yeah.
She just didn't want to flash her booblets.
The men were allowed. The men were allowed to take their sports bras off.
Well, Bob didn't take his t-shirt off. It's up to you. It's your choice, your body.
Classic Mexican at a swimming pool.
It's like that. Have you seen the Ricky Gervais stand-up where he's like, we're all talking about minorities, and he's like, well, I'm a minority. I'm in that 1% of white billionaires. There's only 1% of us.
No.
Very good. But it's a very good scene. And also hats off to Tom Cruise for actually not looking out of place amongst Hangman and Rooster and all the ripped people in the beach.
Scientology.
I don't know.
It's great.
It's a great advert for Scientology, if that's what you look like at 60.
He looks incredible. He looks so good.
He's probably led a stress-free life since his early teens when he was in... is he in The Graduate?
He is in The Graduate.
Yeah.
No, that's... you're
Cocktail.
thinking of... He's in Cocktail. You're thinking of Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman. I know, right. Yeah, and then you get a bunch of... Then the film kind of takes a break for
Yeah.
a little bit. We do have, obviously, there is the Phoenix's crash, but yeah.
Oh yeah, but
He
she
al- this
comes
is
out
where-
fine from that, and this is where he gets punted off, isn't it?
Yeah, because this is where Cyclone's like, Iceman's the only one that's keeping you in this, but you're doing this and this and this, and you want the hard deck and whatever, and it's not good. And then he has some very, very, like, what's the phrase I'm looking for? The texts between him and Iceman are very sexual.
Yeah.
They're very sexual. I need to see you. It's like, I don't have time. It's like, it wasn't a question. It's so hard and sexy, and he's called Ice. It's not even like his actual name. He's just got him saved on his phone as Ice.
Because they have to know who the better pilot is. Okay.
That's a super emotional scene.
That's like a total crusher of a scene. This is like the first like crusher scene, but you don't actually know what's up with Iceman the whole time, and I suppose you should realize early doors that he's gone to Top Gun and Iceman's not there as like to greet him. It's the guy Cyclone instead. And then you just hit with he rocks up to the house, and then you get hit with Iceman's wife saying, it's come back, and you're like, oh fuck. Big C. That's all it can be.
Big C.
And then it's was it his throat?
So
it's hit his throat. But I think it's actually to do with real life.
Val Kilmer has actually lost his voice. It's not due to cancer, but he has lost his voice. He can't speak at all now. So his entire voice when he speaks is actually synthesized via AI to sound like what he sounded like just before he lost his voice.
Oh shit, that's incredible.
I
thought he did have cancer. I thought he had cancer of the throat.
Maybe it was. I thought it was just. I knew he'd lost his voice. Maybe it was.
Because he disappeared for a while, and everyone thought that he's done with acting. And he had always had his neck covered with like scarves and stuff.
Yeah, for a while.
But it was a very, very good scene. And the fact that he's typing on his computer, and then at one point he types, "It's time to let go." And Tom Cruise has some watery eyes and just says, "I don't know how." And I was just like, oh shit, he doesn't know how. And then having to explain himself to Ice and then look at the screen again. Ice doesn't even need to say anything or write anything new down. And he says it again. It's time to let go. It's not about Goose. It's not about Rooster. And it's such a good scene. Such a good scene. And then the little comic relief afterwards, because all the men in the cinema right now are just like choking up. And he's like, "Who's the better pilot?" He's like, "This was a good moment. Let's not ruin it."
just let you go.
That was good. He's funny. Yeah, that was funny. That was a funny scene.
I was laughing. I was laughing at the joke. Crying laughing. It was throat cancer in real life.
There we go. Okay.
Which makes it even harder.
Does the guy off South Park thing?
Yeah, the guy that's from the army guy.
Oh no.
I think that's why they did the AI voice, because that might have been the only way he could have done it.
Yeah.
And actually, to then do it the way they did it actually probably worked a lot in their favor. It would have been fine, but obviously you still would have got that memory of South Park guy.
South Park just ruined shit like
Chewing
that,
the Fat. Chewing the Fat as well had an entire sketch with the whole family.
Oh yeah, totally. Get a ball bag.
What they're called. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So yeah, then of course I think there's another. I think the next scene is the trench run with Phoenix.
Yeah, because they actually go back in
off.
because the mission gets skipped ahead, and then they do the trench run instead of the. No. They're doing the trench run.
They have to do it faster.
They have to do it faster. And then eventually they have to start doing the actual bombing one, and then the G-force thing.
Yeah,
I think this is where that changes, because no one's really made the trench run except Rooster, except he was a minute late.
Yes, but he made it, which was the key, which is the whole point. And then of course Iceman, unfortunately, R.I.P. passes away. And then that's when between the Phoenix having her little accident with getting caught in where her engine goes, I think.
Yeah.
Shit, man. That's a hectic scene, because you think,
Bird
what
strike,
happens in that?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Bird strike, that's it.
You think that what happens beforehand is they're in was that not the corkscrew thing?
They've come out of it though. I think
they've come out of the corkscrew, and you think, fuck.
But then Maverick caught them.
That wasn't
Maverick
it. It was
killed them.
It was when they were doing the G-force thing.
Yeah,
and
it's
then,
the first trench run with the G-force, and they're trying to go faster, and they get
it's
out
Ohio
and they make
or
it.
someone. Ohio passes out.
Yeah.
Because Maverick shoots them down.
Flyboy
passes out, and then Maverick has to stay with him and gives them the tone to wake him up, which is so
that's
cool.
a cool scene.
And then you think, oh my God, everything's fine. And then bang, bird hit. And you're like, oh shit, it's all kicking off. And then they sort of make it out that they've died, but they're actually fine. And then you get a sweet scene with Rooster. Miles Teller does a great job. Really good job. He has this heated scene with Maverick about, why the fuck did you pull my papers?
Yeah.
4 years off the academy.
Yeah, that's where, though I think we'd already found that out previously in a... No. So yeah, we find this out now, that Maverick had pulled his papers to stop him, put him back 4 years from getting into the academy.
Or something like that, yeah.
Put his career back 4 years. So then they have this scene. Then Maverick gets kicked off teaching the program. He's grounded. He'll never fly for the military again.
Yeah.
He goes home to Penny. And then they have, is that not where they have like their love night, their love scene?
It's after the football game.
Is this the first?
After the football game,
after the
he
first
takes her home
football game,
and she
they have
leaves
the love scene.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
She
so
leaves
then
the door
this
open.
is them catching up. Oh no, this is him sitting. They're sitting on like the deck or something, aren't they? Outside. Yeah. Anyway.
And he's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. She's like, you've got to do what you always do or whatever. But
gotta be a
that's
Maverick.
where he also explains to her about how he'd made a promise to Rooster's mum, Goose's wife, that he wouldn't let Rooster fly jets.
Yeah, that's before. So the Rooster and him have a little tete-a-tete, and then it's only after when Penny and Maverick's thing.
That in
bed is when he explains the and then her on the hard deck is just before he takes off for that mission.
Yeah.
Basically Maverick
coming back.
Maverick's doing the whole the whole Batman thing of, I'm going to be the bad guy so that Rooster doesn't hate his mum. His mum didn't want him flying. So Maverick came in and he was like, I'm going to pull your papers so you don't have to fly. And it's the last thing that his mum said before she died.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about this film for a second in terms of the emotions that it does to you, right? This film plays with every emotion you have in your playbook, and it does it pretty obviously and so well. And this comes back to the Phoenix, what we're saying about Phoenix. When that bird strike happens, you think, if the film at this point is kind of running parallel to Top Gun, you kind of go, someone's dying here. Yeah. It wasn't Payback or Flyboy. And then all of a sudden, bird strike, Phoenix is down, and she's doing everything to get the engines back up. He's eject. You're thinking, oh, this could be it.
And they're spinning during the eject as well, which is like, that's full on goose.
You could eject into,
And the scene after that, Rooster is sitting there with his head in his hands, and the music is somber. The lights are off in the classroom, and the whole audience in my cinema was kind of thinking, they're dead. Bob and Phoenix are dead, because Bob is likable, and Phoenix is also likable as characters.
Good pilot.
Oh no, they're dead. And then of course, oh no, they're in the hospital. And you go, well, let's put it this way: you think that's this film, you kind of go, that played with my
emotions a little bit too much.
My heart rate kind of spiked a little bit there. Well, let's skip forward a little bit, and maybe once, obviously, it then starts to ramp up because they pull Tom Cruise from the mission, and then Eddie and I were talking about this, and possibly one of our favorite scenes. 30 feet off the ground, Maverick decides he's going to do the trench run.
Fucking incredible.
In 2 minutes 15.
What's amazing is
in your mouth.
Yeah. It's at the bit where he's lost his job and he's had that conversation with Penny about how to get, and like she's like, what are you going to do to get back in? Like, what are you going to, you have to show these people that it can be done. And then they're in the classroom. John Hamm is like, the hard deck is now higher than 400 feet. You're going to have 4.5 minutes to do it. Yeah. And we don't want you to exceed a certain amount of knots.
Basically making it so that it's a lot easier on the way in, so there's a higher chance they'll get in, but there's actually zero chance that they'll get back alive.
They'll get back out. And then all of a sudden, unidentified aircraft is in the zone, and they're like, we don't have anything planned for today. And
cool, I'm going now.
Maverick's just like, I'm going to go anyway. Put it on the mark, 2 minutes 15. And they're like, that's impossible. And it's so fucking good. And And it's the camera shot of the GoPro shot in the cockpit. And you actually hear and feel his strain and his exhaling and his like having to go against the G's. And you're just like, he is fucking doing this himself.
Those six cameras in the cockpit were actually amazing. How films come along. They're IMAX cameras in that cockpit.
Shit, that's cool.
There's six IMAX cameras in the back seat of that cockpit. Well, obviously the front seat is for the actual Top Gun pilot that flew them around. That was mental.
It's so good.
The cameras, all the cameras in the film are IMAX certified 6K full frame cameras.
Yeah.
That's not cheap.
And there's 6 of them in a cockpit.
Yeah.
And it's insane. And what I love about it is if everyone's like, oh, nah, he probably didn't really do it. You have to just look at their faces. When you're this way and pulling against G-force, his whole face looks so droopy and super old. And it's like pushing against his face mask. It's so good.
As well.
Yeah, every single one of them, not just Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But like this whole trench run is incredible and it's such a hype moment. And then he goes bombs away. And also, let's just talk about my favorite part of this whole mission is when they do the first invert. And as they come over, they twist to get down quicker and then twist again. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's amazing. It's so good. And then he goes bombs away and then he pulls up and he pulls 10 Gs. Which is just insane. And that calls back to Rooster because the camera looks at Rooster and Rooster's like, this plane can only go to 7. And he's like, no, 7 is only there's only the
number in the manual is if it needs to fly again.
Yeah.
Basically, if you want this plane to be able to, if you want this plane to be able to fly again, it's 7.
Yeah.
But 10, we're ruining the airframe. It's never flying again.
Yeah.
Which he does. Because we go straight to an office scene with John Hamm staring out the window. He's like, you stole a plane and it's not airworthy anymore.
Yeah. You stole a plane and you wrecked it.
Which leads him to the decision. Does he fire him?
Such a Maverick move.
So Maverick. And then he's either, do I fire you or do I make you lead on this mission? And it's like, fuck yeah, Maverick's lead.
Well, yeah,
and then he has to pick his team.
Yeah, he's no longer the like instructor. He's now the actual strike leader. Yeah.
And then
Binder's mission trainer reemployed as strike leader.
Yeah, what a wild ride his CV's gonna have.
So from here is like the last 40 minutes of the movie now, isn't it?
One second though. The other cool thing about the Maverick's solo canyon run is he nailed the target without the laser.
Without an assisted laser, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Proving that can also be done. So
it
wasn't like a massive shot in the dark that Goose was able to do it.
Yeah, that's true. Miracle number 1 and 2.
Rooster.
Yeah. Miracles, yeah. We need 2 miracles. The final 40 minutes of this film, I've got my notes on my phone here. My entire cinema was silent. There wasn't popcorn rustling. There was no empty juice. Nobody ate anything. The temperature went up about 3 degrees because everyone was sweating. Because everyone's heart rate went up about 50 beats.
The one thing I clocked when I went to see the movie for the first time was everyone had that, the gamer lean when you're getting really into a game and you do this. Everyone was sat in their chair like this. I sort of looked around and no one was sat back, like arms crossed. Everyone was like, oh my God, what's happening?
The gamer lean is when you lean forward and rest your elbows on your thighs.
Yes, there you
go. In R1, there was a group of down in like the first class section. There was a group of girls who'd obviously made an event. They were coming to watch it. One of them had a "Talk to Me Goose" T-shirt on.
Class.
Well, I saw that when the lights went up at the end because stand up, but then I realized that they were the ones that were making. There's basically every time something happened, they would be giving it a cheer or something. She'd be going, "Yes."
Get back on your Ryanair flight.
Or sort of clap when the plane landed, sort of thing. But one of them had a "Talk to Me Goose" T-shirt on. It made me realize that they must have the ones leading a lot of the What
The
do you call it?
cheers.
The whipping and hollering, yeah.
Were they
Yeah.
old enough to have seen the first Top Gun in the cinema?
Yeah, maybe not in the cinema, but they obviously old enough
You've
to
got
have
to be
seen
like born in the 70s if you've seen that movie in the cinema.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd have been like late 40s.
I think they were maybe
50s.
slightly older than us. Right?
But this
36
whole
years ago it
scene
came out.
is pretty much the finale, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
the
I mean-
mission, and it just keeps going. And
They take off.
it
Missiles
starts-
from the boat flying overhead.
Before we get there, Maverick picks Phoenix and Bob. And Goose is
Flyboy.
his wingman, and Fanboy
Payback.
and Payback.
Well,
Fanboy and Payback?
Fanboy is Payback's co-pilot. Bob
Yeah,
is Phoenix.
he's the guy-
Yeah, Bob
Yeah.
is Faces, yeah.
Fanboy's the guy on the laser.
Yeah.
And then they leave Iceman as not Iceman, Hangman as backup plane, and they call themselves the Daggers.
Dagger 1.
Dagger 1, Dagger 2.
Dagger 2.
And that's so badass. I love that call sign. Dagger 1, engage. Dagger 2, engage. And it's so fucking cool. And then they take off. And that's the other thing, is one of the coolest shots in this movie is you're with Tom Cruise as he's on the aircraft carrier. Takes off. You feel that like judder, and it's up. And then all four of them are in the air. And then, yes, they launch the friggin' Iron Man missiles or whatever it is.
Just
Jericho.
ICBMs. They're just ICBMs. They're just regular missiles. That's just how missiles fly.
That's
But
so
not
cool.
in. They don't usually fire them probably in that
Quantity.
monster barrage. Quantity.
They fire a lot of them.
It's pretty cool though, the fact that when they overtake, you go, oh, that's cool.
That's so cool.
And that's the first bit. You kind of go, that's the first bit that gets you leaning forward, like Eddie's just doing there on the
Yeah.
video. You're like, ooh, that looks tense.
This is
And
interesting.
then trench run, planes arrive, enemy planes. Nah, don't worry about them. Rooster slows down. Talk to me, Dad. Comes
I didn't
back
like that. I don't know if I liked that. That was the
But-
one thing I didn't like.
That was
Because
kind of
Maverick
true.
says it. Maverick says it twice, I think, which was cool.
But if Maverick says it, why can't Rooster say it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It
It's
just
dad.
seemed a bit. It just seemed overly cheesy. And like Maverick says it because that was his co-pilot. So like Phoenix says it a lot. Talk to me, Bob. What's happening? What's going on? So it made
That's for a
sense for
different
Maverick
thing,
to
though.
say that. But it
Like,
makes sense
Phoenix
for
is saying
Maverick to
it
say
because Phoenix is saying it because it's like, talk to me, Bob, because like she's flying the plane and she needs
No,
Bob to look for the enemy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
Shit.
what I mean. That's why Maverick
Whereas,
in
like,
the first
it's
movie.
totally
That's why.
understandable. Roos saying it, just like
Yeah,
he's
it's
nervous.
literally
He
his
needs
dead
a bit of help, and he's like, my dead dad was really good in planes and stuff.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Dad. Give me a bit of confidence. I think that's totally believable.
He
That's
wasn't
almost
a pilot.
more-
followed his career path.
That's almost more believable
Except he
than
was a pilot and not a weapons
Almost.
weapons whatever.
Yeah.
Weapons engineer.
But
But
then
anyway,
we get our
it
use
didn't.
the
It
force
didn't.
moment.
That didn't hit for me. But anyway, yeah. Maverick and whatever his name is, who's Maverick, Phoenix, and Bob. They get their miracle number 1 done.
Yeah.
And then they go into the 10G climb. Rooster and his boys come in. They're a little bit later. And then they can't, there's something wrong with the laser. And then he's like, it's too much, switching the gun or switching to eyeballing it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he uses the force and he nails it. What is it? Like a meter wide?
Yeah, something like that, 2 meters wide, something along those lines.
Cool thing about this CGI, it implodes before it explodes. Very cool.
Then it is blowing up like a nuclear site. So
Yeah.
would it not implode like that?
They would want it to. They'd want
I
it
don't know
to.
the science. I don't know the science.
If it's like a big void space void space underground, the ground would come down before it pops up. Yeah. The science checks out.
Science checks out. Good stuff.
Yeah, and then of course we get our first real tense bit, which is dogfight with the SAM sites. Break right.
That's so fucking
Deploy
intense.
flares. That was tense. And then obviously we
Too
get
tense.
our sacrifice. Yeah, full on camping.
The sound design here, by the way, is incredible. The sound design of the flares coming out of the plane sound really fucking cool. And the sort of aero photography within this scene, because it's underneath the plane and it's in the cockpit and it's on the wing and it's at the tail. You've got so many different angles of this happening. It's such a cool fucking scene.
We've got to big up Joseph Kosinski for actually working, coming up with it, directing everybody, make sure to get the right cinematographers and stuff. And as a graduate of architect school, precision engineering. So yeah, dogfight, SAM site, the whole thing. And they have like planes with these cameras and stuff, but still, it looks sick. And also, we get our first sacrifice of the jet up and over.
Yeah. He does the Cobra maneuver
with the flares. Yeah,
so sick. Because he's out of flares, right?
Rooster's out of flares, but
Rooster's
Maverick goes back because he still has flares, so he goes back to save Rooster.
And Maverick,
Maverick
crashes. What did we think when Maverick crashed? Did we think that was it? It was unceremonious.
A little bit of me did, yeah.
Genuinely,
I don't think it was unceremonious. I thought like it was almost fitting because he sacrificed.
Yes.
He no matter regardless of how it happened or who's to blame. Goose died on his watch. So he's sort of now sacrificing himself so that Goose's son doesn't die on his watch.
Yeah. And like I genuinely thought it had finished as well, because he gets shot down and they're like, do you see a shoot? Do you see a shoot? Negative, no shoot. And you're like, what the fuck? And then it's like this just straight shot on Rooster's face. And then it splits to black. And you're like,
you don't know what's happened.
And it stays on black for a while.
It probably doesn't. It just feels like a while because you're so into it.
It felt long the second time as well. I was like, oh, they did push this long. And then it goes straight to Maverick on the
waking up
snow, right? Waking up.
Yeah.
I guess frozen lake.
Russian Hind helicopter.
Yeah. So good. It's just like he's not dead, but also now it's a man versus a helicopter.
Tom Cruise running. Tom Cruise running.
Well, this is later on.
That's why he had to survive, because he hadn't run anywhere yet.
That's very true.
And then basically it looks like Tom Cruise, Maverick's dead, and then in comes Rooster, guns the helicopter down. And then, but then in doing that, does he then get hit? He then gets hit by a jet.
So like the helicopter blows up, and then you see the camera like follows the jet coming round. And then you see sort of like Maverick's perspective. And in that same shot, he gets hit by one of those electronic missile launchers. And then you're like, what the fuck is happening?
But then you see Rooster eject, and then Maverick just starts running again.
Maverick's running towards the parachute.
He runs a long way in snow.
Fucking long way.
Hard.
In his like fighter pilot gear, with still carrying his helmet.
Yeah, you never know. And then genuinely here is where I think you get actual Miles Teller, because he is quite a comic actor. He's not really done many serious movies up until this point. And you actually get a bit of Miles Teller in the back and forth in this bit.
What about Whiplash?
He runs. It's not really comedy, is it?
Yeah, but you said he did a lot of comedy movies.
Oh, right. Well, other than Whiplash, I guess. But like, he runs straight into him, and they have this big argument, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you not thinking?" He's like, "You told me not to think," and then it's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
I got a laugh.
It's like, oh yeah, totally, he did, yeah. And then somehow they make it back to the airfield, although I'm pretty sure they're miles away from the airfield, but maybe they're closer. And that's
the brilliant thing about not Russia. Is that you can because
not Russia,
because they focus on but it is because the film focuses on the right things. So it focuses so much on the action and the jets that when you immediately go, God, it feels like they were miles away from the airbase. You don't question that when you're watching the film. It's only after.
Yeah, true.
But during it does not take away from the enjoyment.
Very true.
And he very much slips into, like you say, that Anthony Edwards-esque role. Very easily, including the comedy scene where they're running across the runway to get to the F-14.
Yeah, he's like, we should run. Yep, we should run. Yep. Run.
Keep going.
Very good. And also, that's the one scene that reminded me of the fact that it was the guy that has done the recent Mission Impossible movies. The guy that had he's been involved in this apparently. Yeah.
Christopher McQuarrie.
It was a very sort of Mission Impossible written scene in terms of dialogue and how they reacted to run to this plane. In my opinion.
Yeah, that whole scene is good. And we get to an F-14, which is always
and he's
fun.
like, and he's like, fuck, this is old. And then what's really cool is he helps Maverick gets into the cockpit, and then you see him run, and it reminds you of Goose because he's so lanky and he's unplugging everything, and he's unplugging and putting everything in, and he jumps on the tail and then jumps into the thing. It's so good.
Did either of you two I quite enjoyed, actually, this sounds really daft, I quite enjoyed seeing him set up an F-14.
Yeah, he knew exactly how to set it up and like get it going and get it, spooled up and everything.
Yeah, just it looked cool how up you think, planes are just ready. It's not just sitting ready. He actually had to do shit.
Plug it in.
The generator was going. The generator going, and then fuel it up, air it up, and get pressure in the system. And
even things that you don't think about, where he jumps into the cockpit and he's like, "Fuck me, it's been a minute," and like adding it all in, and then he's like, "Oh, there should be a fuse in the back there," and he's just Rooster's just surrounded by fuse boxes.
He said Goose,
and they sort of take off, and then they go supersonic. He's like, "Why?" Oh no, he doesn't. He was like, "Why are the wings going out, Mav? Why are the wings going out?" And it's great
because he's taken off in a stupidly short distance.
Yeah, it's not even a runway; it's a taxiway.
Yeah. It's basically like we're dead if we don't try it, so we'd be as well try it.
Yeah.
So then,
full on Maverick style.
They take off and they sort of clip the wheel as they take off. They go into supersonic mode. Rooster puts his radar back on, and they're just like
on his suit. Yeah.
He's like, "Rooster's back online. He's supersonic," and they're like, "It can't be." And then the fucking gong happens, and you look at John Hamm, and John Hamm's like, "Maverick." It's so fucking good. The hype is real.
Probably, is this the coolest? It's all cool. It's cruel to say this the coolest bit, but dogfighting the SU-57, the F-14, just shouldn't happen.
The flip over with the machine gun is epic.
It's incredible. And he's just slowly running out of bullets, and then he just just times it.
The funny thing I like, because it's a serious part as well, but they also managed to get a bit of comedy in there, is they pull up and they're being like policed, and they're doing this thing because he says his comms aren't working, and he's like, "What is that? Never seen that signal before." Like,
no idea.
What does this mean? No idea. Never seen that before either.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Good.
Yeah. And then
so they get rid of one real quick.
But the second one just comes around him, doesn't it? So he's like, "Oh, fuck." Right, guns ready, just strafes across the back of the one next to him, just absolutely obliterating the back of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tense because you just know that the F-14 against the these new 5th generation jets, and it was an SU-57, nowhere near. And there's a lot of very good flying involved.
Yeah, and he does. I think he decides, like, they get hit a few times, is that right? And then he decides, right, what we'll do is we'll go down low. Oh no, before that, does he not have the fighter jet? He manages to go into the sun or something and then ends up behind him.
Is that not that?
Well, that might be a hangman thing at the start.
Is that not hangman at the start?
Somehow he gets behind him, and I can't remember how. But then the 5th gen fighter does this weird stall thing. Like he
he does
goes
this sort of
full on vertical, and then like ends up behind him, and then Rooster's like, "What the fuck was that?"
I think they were both at that moment. Everyone goes, "Oh, he's not the only person with tricks." It's quite clever.
Yeah.
You would need to. I don't know if it's even possible. I imagine it probably is if you're ballsy enough.
Who knows? But then they go down because it'll scramble his
GPS
system or something to like lock onto missiles, so he has to resort to guns. And they do the low flying thing, and it's great. And then Maverick ends up doing that whole braking thing, his like famous move. And like you were saying, Eddie, it starts breaking down, and he's like getting rid of guns, and he's got 33 bullets left. And then he just like, come on. And then he fucking gets him. So he does.
Gets him into prime Maverick position and just rattles him.
And then you all think it's over, and you're like, this is class. This is great. Oh, what a great
And
ending to this movie.
By God, that's a enemy fighter pilot's music.
And then, but then it's like, where is he? And he's like, he's on our nose. And you're like, fuck, he's flying straight at them. Oh, it's so good. And it just adds that from what Eddie said last week, where he was like smiling to intense to like crying to like smiling to this being like so anxious because you think it's over and then, oh wait, he's fucking in front of us. And you're just
again.
like, fuck me, it's not over. And it's so intense.
They're just heading out towards the aircraft carrier.
They're going home.
It's just like beep, 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 beep on the radar. And Rooster's like looking behind them like, I can't see anyone. There's no one there. There's no one there. And then Maverick's like, he's in front of us.
He's on our nose. And then he actually lets one go. So like he manages to actually get the missile away. And then as you see that sort of like side-on shot of this missile dropping, the whole thing blows up. And then, good morning, aviators. This is your savior speaking. Hangman to the rescue. Love it.
Yeah, just in the nick of time. It is just the way this film plays with their emotions, and everybody gets an arc. So Hangman gets to save people. Phoenix and Bob gets to become a hero.
Yeah.
Rooster obviously gets redemption. I guess you could say that Flyboy makes the so whilst Flyboy maybe doesn't get his have a full arc that you see if you think about it, he does nearly faint on the trial run.
Yeah,
and then makes
it. Yeah,
and then makes it. So he had the balls to do it. I guess is kind of the way they're kind of presenting that. And of course, they land on the aircraft carrier thanks to the net system, which didn't have in the first film.
Incredible.
I don't think.
It's when he says, "We are without landing gear. Get the barricade up," and then everyone runs onto the. And then he does a flyby. Classic Maverick does a flyby on the tower.
Yeah,
so good. John Hamm's not happy about it. Love it.
No.
Although he doesn't say, "I really, really want." No, he wasn't going to say that actually. But who's the? It's Strickland from Back to the Future. He's like, "I want to see some butts," because he keeps like flying past.
I think the one thing they missed was the other thing they didn't do was negative dagger one pattern is full. Just land or just they should have just said just land the damn plane.
He did. He did pretty much do a flyby of the tower.
Yeah, he did.
On his
That's
way
what I'm saying.
to come and
what
do
I'm saying
it.
is the wording of
he didn't request a flyby. He just did it.
Yeah.
Negative Ghost Rider.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool getting the
net.
The net out to catch the plane.
Very cool.
Yeah, pretty
and then that classic 80s ending where everyone runs towards the plane that also might still be like on fire because they've been shot a few times. Everyone runs towards the plane and is clapping and applauding.
They had barely any fuel and no munitions left. It was probably actually the safest place for them.
And they jump off the plane. They take their helmets off. They have a few salutes. And then
Maverick's now an ace.
Oh, yeah, that was cool, actually. He was like, "Looks like you've got two, Hangman." And he's like, "Yeah, better believe it."
Maverick's now got 5.
Maverick's got 5. That's an ace. That was another thing, actually, that I liked about Hangman, is it relates back to the pool scene, where he's like, "You look good, Hangman." He's like, "I am good, Rooster. I am good. I'm very good." He's such a dick. I love it. But they have a very manly embrace, don't they, Rooster and Maverick, where he like full on does that like manly hug where he punches in the back at the same time because they're men. They don't show emotions, but when they do show emotion, it's aggressive
and highly emotional.
And I was not even fighting back the tears. It was ugly crying. It was like, this is so beautiful.
And then just when you think the film's going to end there, you get another scene.
Yeah, another scene
with Penny Benjamin on a
not yet.
No, well, you get them fixing the jet first.
They're fixing the Mustang, and it's a sweet father-son moment
together.
And then Penny Benjamin arrives in a Porsche 911, which I'm pretty confident is probably Tom Cruise's Porsche 911.
But she's not even in it. She's just resting on the bonnet.
Is she wearing Kelly McGillis's outfit from the first movie?
No,
it looks very similar.
See, I was a bit not confused, but that's like a exact replica of a scene from Top Gun, isn't it? The perched in the front of a Porsche.
Because she's got her really old 60s Porsche.
Yeah, the Speedster.
Speedster, yeah. And did you know Jennifer Connelly was afraid of flying until Tom Cruise took her up in the P-51 Mustang?
That's amazing. And it was that
she actually had a fear of flying, and then Tom Cruise says, so we're going to get in this P-51 Mustang, and I'll fly, and we'll get some aerial shots, and that'll be the end of the film. And she kind of said, all right, okay. And she said in an interview, she said, he's just so enthusiastic and nice, and you kind of go, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah. She says, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's kind of the same thing. I hate to bring him up, but it's the same thing. Did you ever see the
You're going to see the James Corden thing, aren't you?
The parachute one, where Tom Cruise just jumps out of a plane.
I've seen the Top Gun one where he takes him in a jet.
Watch him. I don't watch. This was a couple of years ago.
I saw it on YouTube.
Watch that guy, but there was one where he jumped out of a plane with made James Corden jump out of a plane, and Tom Cruise just lands, does it by himself, just casually in jeans and a t-shirt.
I've not seen that, but I saw on YouTube. I was just looking up Top Gun clips, and I saw on YouTube that they had done it again, but he just flew in a regular plane, flew in a jet, and then flew in his Mustang.
Surprised they let James Corden in a jet, because surely he'd be like,
it's great. It's great because you see how much Tom Cruise loves flying and how good a pilot he is, and then James Corden kind of ruins it with his terrible comedy in the background.
Just ruins it by being there.
Yeah, it's just like just stop being on television. But we're not here to talk about how bad we hate James Corden.
But yes, Tom Cruise cured Jennifer Connelly's fear of flying in a P-51 Mustang. They did the loop.
Yes, they fly off into the sunset, and it's a class ending. And then we've got
for Tony Scott.
We don't have any 80s ballad or anything. We have Lady Gaga singing some song, and I actually kind of loved it.
Like, is that the closing scene? The closing scene, not Rooster looking at the photo board, and there's the picture of.
Well, they fly
Rooster
off.
looks at the photo board, and then they do the loop into the sun, and it says for Tony Scott.
And then the credits come, and Lady Gaga just singing up "Sweet Ballad," and I loved it, and I was just like, song. "That's so good." And then movie finishes, and then it goes. And I was just like, oh my God, this movie's so fucking good.
And you can safely leave the cinema because there's no fucking chance of any dumb
there's not going to be an after credit scene. It's not fucking Marvel. I was so happy to leave a movie so hyped that wasn't anything to do with Disney or comic books.
Did you guys have to wait 5 minutes to let your erection die down?
Yes.
No.
Oh no! You stood up all proud.
It was just very hard to be like a sobbing mess and have an erection.
Yes, I sent you guys a photo, just sitting in the chair. I was boiling by that point. It was roasting. Honest to God, my hands were sweaty. It was like playing the last level of like Back 4 Blood. Just hands sweaty, horrible.
And that's the end of the movie.
That is the end of the movie.
Do you have any hot information about the movie? Because I've got the box office right now.
Tom Cruise's first ever $100 million opening weekend. Just let that sink in for a minute. Tom Cruise's
first ever
$100 million opening weekend. Get out! What the? And also, if this got a 5-minute standing ovation at the Oscars, it got an ovation at the cinema I was in.
Oh, me too. Both times.
Which, as we said, I mean, Eddie were joking today, it's literally clapping when the plane landed.
Yeah.
If this film does not get even nominated for Best Picture at the next Oscars, it literally proves the Academy doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
100%. It'll just be a list of like wanky films that you're supposed to like because for wanky
the acting's
reasons,
really good in it.
Even though it's not, and the story's garbage and it makes no sense and nobody gives a flying fuck.
If this film does not get nominated for best, it sure as hell better get nominated for best cinematography. Otherwise, the Oscars are pointless.
Yeah. Genuinely.
The Oscars largely are pointless.
Yeah, I know.
Anything, any sort of awards thing that is from the people from supposed experts in the field that it's awarding. It's all subjective nonsense. Anyway.
I know. So yeah, that'd be my point.
The info I've got here on Google is from 2 hours ago. Top Gun Maverick barrel rolls to $291 million opening weekend at the box office.
That's just America.
That's 2 hours ago. 1 hour ago, I refreshed. 1 hour ago, Top Gun Maverick soars to $549 million. That's apparently in the space of an hour of journalism.
And hopefully Tom Cruise goes, no, we don't need another one. It's done.
We don't.
I really hope so. I mean, it took them 33 years to make a second,
Yeah.
and I think it's done.
And it has to stop with Tom Cruise. They can't go and make it with Rooster and that. They can't. It has to stop now.
It's up there. It's the same as Blade Runner 2049. The way they handled that, it depends if you like the movie or not, but the way they handled that in terms of sequels, it's up there in terms of a sequel that waited 33 years. Quite frankly, they can wait another 30 years till I'm not interested.
It doesn't have to be a trilogy, even though everyone loves a trilogy right now. It doesn't have to be a trilogy, and a badass thing would be not do it. Just be like, we want one. It's like, I don't care how much you're going to throw money at me. I'm not going to make another one.
It is kind of funny that Paramount own I don't know who owns the rights, but Tom Cruise definitely. Paramount were part of this, right? Paramount also have Mission Impossible. What the hell are they going to do when Tom Cruise retires? Because he's literally carrying Paramount on his back.
Well, they've got 2 more movies left of Mission Impossible. So.
Well, this has made me more excited for Mission Impossible. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
I'm actually very excited to see that. If he has put as much effort into the final 2 of those as he has into this, then
it's going to be incredible.
It could be good.
I need to try and find the Mission Impossible films. I'm hoping they're free on Amazon.
There's Netflix has got Mission Impossible 6, or it did. You could probably watch 5 and 6, and you'd probably be up to date.
Didn't have any of them when I looked the other day. Also, doesn't have Top Gun. You lied.
No, it was a Top Gun. It was on my screen, but it must have been America. I thought it had Top Gun as well. I got very excited.
Get yourself a VPN.
Too much effort.
No, it's not.
It's not paying for that.
Also, I posted a Lego trailer of Lego Top Gun.
I saw that. Yeah,
I did see that. Very, very funny. Shall we end it there, though, boys?
I think so. Yes.
Quick thing to timestamp this episode, though. As 7:25 right now on Sunday night is Ukraine didn't make it to the World Cup.
Oh, did Wales win? Did they?
Wales won 1-0. Yarmolenko scored an own goal.
Oh, nightmare!
That's a nightmare.
Man, Wales would be happy though. Finally,
it was nice of Scotland to roll over for them, but Wales
makes that even worse.
I don't know what's worse: is Scotland's performance against Ukraine or England's performance against Hungary.
Well, one team's at the World Cup.
One team mattered, one team didn't.
Yeah, true.
One game mattered, one game didn't. Right, let's wrap this special episode up.
Bad boy up. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening. If you have any thoughts on Top Gun Maverick, let us know. Write to us on our Instagram or our Twitter or our email. You can get us on all the socials at That's Class Pod, or you can email us on that'sclasspod@gmail.com. Tell your friends about the podcast. Let them listen. Lie to them and tell them that it's really good so that they listen to it. We've gotten quite a lot of listens actually in the last couple of weeks. Really nice. We upload new episodes all at the same time on every platform, wherever you find podcasts. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, blah, 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 blah. They upload whenever I find time to upload. Usually it's Monday, but we're recording this on a Sunday, and I probably won't have it up by tomorrow morning. It'll probably be up Tuesday by the so keep those notification bells on, and then you'll find out when we have uploaded an episode. Thank you very much for listening again. I'm all hyped up, and I really want to see this movie for a third time.
Toss myself into hype.
We'll see you next week. Have a super day. Say goodbye, Duncan.
Goodbye, Duncan.
And as Eddie says at the end of every episode of That's Class,
this is what I call a target-rich environment.
Yes.